the genesis of the Russian collusion narrative. The tale of Russian collusion is deeply intertwined with the 2016 U.S. presidential election. As Donald J. Trump ascended to the forefront of American politics, questions began emerging about the extent of Russia's involvement in the electoral process. The narrative was fueled by various factors, ranging from leaked emails to public statements made by figures close to the Trump campaign. One notable starting point was the release of the Democratic National Committee emails by WikiLeaks in July 2016. These leaked emails, which were damaging to the Clinton campaign, spurred speculation about their origin. The U.S. intelligence community would later assert that Russian hackers were responsible for the breach, a claim that Russia denied. Simultaneously, a dossier, later known as the Steele dossier, began circulating in political and media circles. Compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele, this dossier contained unverified allegations of misconduct and conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russian officials. Although its contents were salacious and uncorroborated, it played a pivotal role in shaping early perceptions of the collusion narrative. Furthermore, Hillary Clinton's campaign, keen on spotlighting Trump's alleged ties to Russia, played a role in propagating the collusion narrative. It is worth noting that the Clinton campaign and the DNC funded the research that led to the Steele dossier, though they denied any knowledge of the specifics of its creation. These foundational events set the stage for a multi-year investigation and media frenzy. As more details came to light, the narrative's complexity grew, pulling in various figures and leading to an extensive investigation helmed by special counsel Robert Mueller. Timeline: the unfolding of the Russian collusion narrative. The Russian collusion narrative has been a multifaceted and complex story, unfolding over several years. The following is a timeline of significant events that defined its trajectory. June 2016. Donald Trump Jr., Paul Manafort, and Jared Kushner met with Russia lawyer Natalia Veselnitskaya at Trump Tower. The meeting, initially pitched as offering damaging information on Hillary Clinton, became a focal point of scrutiny later. July 22, 2016. WikiLeaks publishes 20,000 DNC emails. U.S. intelligence agencies later attribute the hack to Russian operatives. July 2016. The FBI initiates a counterintelligence investigation named Crossfire Hurricane into links between the Trump campaign and Russia. October 2016. The Obama administration officially accuses the Russian government of attempting to interfere in the U.S. election. January 6, 2017. U.S. intelligence agencies released a report concluding that Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered an influence campaign in 2016 aimed at the U.S. presidential election. January 10, 2017. BuzzFeed News publishes the Steele dossier in full. February 13, 2017. Michael Flynn resigns as National Security Advisor after details of his conversations with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak emerged. May 9, 2017. President Trump fires FBI Director James Comey. The move raises questions about potential obstruction of justice and intensifies calls for an independent investigation. May 17, 2017. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appoints Robert Mueller as special counsel to oversee the investigation into Russian interference and potential links to the Trump campaign. February 16, 2018. Mueller's team indicts 13 Russian nationals and 3 Russian entities for meddling in the 2016 election. July 13, 2018. The special counsel's office charges 12 Russian intelligence officers with hacking the DNC and the Clinton campaign. March 22, 2019. Mueller concludes his investigation and submits his report to Attorney General William Barr. March 24, 2019. Barr releases a summary of the Mueller report, stating that the investigation did not find evidence that the Trump campaign conspired with Russia. The full report, released later, offered a nuanced picture detailing potential obstruction of justice instances without drawing a conclusion. Post 2019. While the official investigations have concluded, discussions, debates, and ramifications of the Russian collusion narrative persist. New revelations, further analysis, and political repercussions continue to shape the discourse. The conservative perspective on the Russian collusion story. To truly grasp the story's nuances, it is essential to understand the conservative viewpoint, which raises concerns about the origins, motivations, and implications of the Russian collusion narrative. While not homogeneous in its views, conservative discourse offers several recurring critiques. 1. Origin and integrity of the Steele dossier. Conservatives have consistently questioned the Steele dossier's legitimacy, emphasizing its indirect funding by the DNC and the Hillary Clinton campaign. They argue that the use of opposition research, which contained unverified claims, as a significant basis for FISA warrants against Carter Page was not only unjust, but also a glaring oversight by the FBI. The dossier's salacious claims, which remain uncorroborated, are pointed to as evidence of a bias or a setup. 2. Unequal application of justice. A frequent conservative talking point revolves around the perceived disparity in scrutiny between Trump associates and those connected to the DNC or Hillary Clinton. For instance, the handling of the Clinton email investigation versus the intensity of the Trump-Russia probe is often contrasted. Questions arise as to why certain actors, like Michael Flynn, faced rigorous legal scrutiny, while others, such as those involved with the DNC servers breach, did not face comparable investigation. 3. Media bias and narrative framing. Conservatives often assert that many mainstream media outlets exhibited bias in their reporting on the Russian collusion story. The immediate uptake of unverified claims, the magnification of speculative ties, and an alleged eagerness to prove the collusion narrative true are points of contention. There is a sentiment that the media, at times, abandon their role as objective reporters to become adversaries of the Trump administration. The Mueller report's ambiguity. While the Mueller report did not find conclusive evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, conservatives argue that it also did not definitively exonerate Trump of obstruction of justice charges. This perceived ambiguity allowed political opponents and certain media outlets to maintain and perpetuate claims of wrongdoing, despite the exhaustive nature of Mueller's investigation. Another significant conservative concern is the potential weaponization of U.S. intelligence agencies for political purposes. The handling of the FISA applications, surveillance of Trump campaign associates, and unmasking requests became flashpoints. Many conservatives believe that these actions were not just procedural missteps, but indicative of a deeper, more systemic bias against Trump and his associates. The liberal perspective on the Russian collusion story. To gain a well-rounded understanding of the Russian collusion narrative, it is essential to explore the liberal viewpoint, which has its own set of concerns and interpretations regarding the events. While this perspective is diverse and multifaceted, several key themes emerged in the liberal discourse. 1. National security implications. For many on the left, the essence of the Russian collusion story is rooted in profound concerns over national security. They believe that if a presidential candidate or his associates were in any way compromised or influenced by a foreign power, it would pose a significant threat to the United States democratic processes and its standing in the world. The mere possibility for them warranted the extensive investigations that followed. 2. The importance of the Steele dossier. While conservatives have criticized the Steele dossier's credibility, many liberals view it as a crucial piece of intelligence. raising alarming questions about Trump's connections with Russia. Even if not all of his claims have been verified, they argue its very existence and the gravity of its allegations merited further investigation. 3. Trump's actions and statements. Liberals have expressed concerns about President Trump's perceived reluctance to criticize Vladimir Putin and Russia, seeing it as a potentially indicative and ulterior motives and hidden alliances. They also point to various actions, like the firing of James Comey, and public statements that they believe could hint at obstruction or an intent to interfere with the investigation. 4. The Mueller report's conclusions. Many liberals interpret the Mueller report differently than their conservative counterparts. While the report did not conclusively prove a criminal conspiracy between the Trump campaign and Russia, it documented numerous contacts and established that Russia did interfere with the 2016 election. For many on the left, the sheer volume of contacts and the campaign's interest in benefiting from the leaked information are deeply troubling, even if not legally actionable. 5. Broader implications for democracy. Beyond the specific allegations and investigations, liberals often view the Russian collusion story as emblematic of a broader threat to democracy. They are concerned about foreign interference in elections, the erosion of democratic norms, and the potential that any future candidates can be compromised. They argue for the necessity of robust checks and balances to ensure that such threats are addressed. Concluding thoughts on the Russian collusion story. The Russian collusion narrative, regardless of one's perspective, undeniably played a defining role in American political discourse throughout President Trump's tenure and beyond. Its implications and reverberations touched upon the core tenets of democracy, national security, and the intricate dance of power in Washington. From the conservative standpoint, the narrative was seen as a manifestation of deep-seated bias against an unorthodox president, driven by a combination of political motivations, media sensationalism, and at times questionable investigative practices. They argue that the lack of concrete evidence tying Trump's campaign to a criminal conspiracy with Russia vindicates this view and underscores the dangers of unchecked political opposition. On the other hand, the liberal perspective emphasizes the gravity of foreign interference in the democratic process. To them, the various investigations into the matter, regardless of their conclusions, were both necessary and justified to ensure the integrity of the electoral process and safeguard national security. Yet beneath the partisan divides, a few unifying themes emerge. 1. The sanctity of the electoral process. Regardless of one's viewpoint, there's unanimous agreement on the importance of protecting the electoral process from external influences. The mere suggestion of foreign interference in an election is deeply concerning, necessitating thorough investigation and response. 2. The role of the media. The Russian collusion story has brought to the forefront the power and responsibilities of the media in shaping political narratives. Both sides have expressed concerns about bias, misinformation, and the challenges of discerning fact from speculation in a hyper-partisan age. 3. Checks and balances. The events surrounding the Russian collusion narrative underscore the essential role of checks and balances within the American system. Investigative bodies, the judiciary, the media, and the public all play pivotal roles in holding power to account and ensuring transparency. In reflecting on the Russian collusion story, it becomes evident that beyond the immediate events and allegations, the narrative raises profound questions about the state of American democracy, the challenges it faces, and the resilience of its institutions. As the dust settles and the Russian collusion story's history continues to be written, the story serves as a poignant reminder of the complexities of governance, the fragility of trust, and the enduring importance of truth in the public sphere.